If you run multiple clinic locations, here's a question I'd like you to try answering off the top of your head. Last Tuesday afternoon, between 2 and 4, how many calls came into your clinic? How many of those went to voicemail? And how many ended in a booked appointment? Most operators can't answer that. Not because they don't care, but because the data lives somewhere they can't see. The phone system has it. The clinical platform doesn't. So managers walking into a Monday review have revenue, bookings, no-show rates, and patient satisfaction, all of it broken down by site. But the most upstream signal of patient experience, the call itself, is a black box. 5 sites, 5 black boxes. I'm Annie, and I spend my days at Clinic Master supporting multi-provider, multi-location clinics across Canada. The question I just opened with, I have a version of that conversation almost every week. In this video, we're going to make the case that this is the most expensive blind spot in multi-location clinic operations. We'll talk about why the call is the clinical workflow, not a parallel one. We'll walk through where to start, how to phase the rollout, and what to measure when you do. If you operate 2 locations or 20, this video is for you. Before doing anything, get clear on where you are today. Pull your operations team together and walk through 3 areas. First, your call workflow. When a call comes in, does your team see the patient's profile before they pick up? Or do they ask who's calling, put them on hold, and search for them? Can staff book an appointment from inside the call without flipping between systems? Are call reasons and outcomes documented in real time or filed away as a memory hours later, if at all? Can you search past calls by caller, reason, or outcome? Second, multi-site visibility. Can you compare call volume and answer rates across all your locations today in one place? Do you know which sites are missing the most calls? Which sites convert calls to bookings best? Is your call data connected to your scheduling and patient records, or is it living in a separate system entirely? Third, your team and your setup. Does your team use soft phones, desk phones, or both? Do your locations serve bilingual patients in English and French? Who on your team is actually responsible for reviewing call performance across sites? If no one owns that today, that itself is important to surface. The point of this exercise isn't to find fault, it's to map honestly where the gaps are. The clinics that get this transformation right are the ones that start by knowing exactly what they're starting with. Here's the central idea of this video. The call is the clinical workflow, not a precursor to it, not a thing that triggers it. The call is the workflow. Think about what actually happens on an inbound call. A patient calls, someone picks up, the patient says their name, the person on the phone asks why they're calling, they check the schedule, they check the balance, they might confirm an email, they book, reschedule, ask a question, or get transferred. Every one of those moves is clinical data. Every one of those moves either lives inside your patient record or it doesn't. In most clinics today, it doesn't. The phone system is one world. The clinical software is another. The front desk acts as the bridge, manually, dozens of times a day. The average front desk person loses 30 to 45 seconds per call just toggling between the 2 systems. Across 50 calls a day, that's over 30 minutes of fragmented workflow per person. Multiply by every front desk at every site and you have a real number. But time loss isn't even the biggest cost. The biggest cost is that the call event never makes it into the record. You can't review it later. You can't compare it across sites. You can't measure which calls became bookings, which became cancellations, which became frustrated patients. Your most upstream signal is unrecorded. The fix isn't a faster receptionist. The fix is treating the phone system and the clinical platform as one workflow. When the call rings, the patient appears. When the call ends, the documentation already exists. When the manager looks at the dashboard, every call from every site is right there. That's what the call flow is. The workflow actually means in practice. You don't have to flip the switch everywhere at once. In fact, you shouldn't. A phased rollout lets your team build confidence at one site before expanding. Here's the structure we recommend, modeled directly on what works in customer environments today. Phase 1. The pilot. Weeks 1 to 4. Pick one location and one location only. Not your busiest site, not your most fragile site. Pick the site that has the operational maturity to absorb change cleanly and give you clean before and after data. Map your staff to your phone system users so calls actually surface in the platform. Get your team comfortable seeing patient context the moment a call is answered and booking inside the call instead of after it. Watch how call documentation lands when it happens in real time. The goal in this phase isn't volume, it's confidence. Phase 2. Expand. Weeks 5 to 8. Bring on 2 or 3 more locations using the same setup pattern. The new step here is standardizing your call reason and resolution lists across sites, because consistent labels are what unlock cross-site comparison. Without them, your dashboards lie to you. Once those are aligned, your managers start to see real cross-site call performance for the first time. Phase 3. Optimize. Weeks 9 to 12, all remaining locations come online. By this point, you have real data, so you refine your call reason and resolution lists based on what's actually happening. You tune workflows. Managers start using call data to inform staffing decisions, scheduling decisions, and where to focus operational attention next. 12 weeks, give or take, takes a well-run clinic group from one site to full network coverage. Slower than that, you're losing momentum. Faster than that, you're skipping learning. Once your call workflow is integrated across sites, here's what's actually visible in one dashboard, across every location. Calls answered. How many calls your team picks up live versus how many go to voicemail, broken down by site. This is the most basic visibility metric, and the one most clinics can't actually produce today. Call to booking rate. Of the calls that come in, how many end in a booked appointment? This is the conversion number that ties call workflow directly to revenue. Call reasons. Why patients are calling, new bookings, follow-ups, billing, cancellations. Once your team is tagging these in real time, you start seeing patterns. You see which sites get more billing calls than booking calls. You see which sites have the highest cancellation traffic. That tells you where to focus. Call resolutions. What actually happened on each call? Appointment booked, inquiry answered, referral made. Match resolutions to your business goals. If the goal is filling capacity, you want to see booking resolutions rising over time. Site-to-site comparison. Volume, answer rate, conversion, and outcomes side by side across every location. That's the visibility you couldn't get before. That's how you spot the site that needs help before patient satisfaction tells you. This is what Clinic Master's VoIP module makes possible. It connects your existing phone system to the clinical platform through an API, so calls become part of the patient workflow instead of a parallel one. If you want to see the actual interface in action, we walked through it in detail in our video from a couple weeks ago. The link is in the description. For now, if you'd like a personalized walkthrough with your own setup in mind, the demo link is below. That's it for this one. If you take one thing away, take this. The call isn't the precursor to the workflow. The call is the workflow. Treat it that way, and everything downstream gets easier.